This is Joe Rand with Better Homes and Gardens Rand Realty, and this is our special report on the spring market 2019, 10 years after the 08-09 correction. I can't believe it's been 10 years since we had the market correction, the financial crisis of 2008, the whole thing. Well, we're doing a special 7 trends to watch, and we're looking at 7 different trends of what's happening in our local markets of Westchester, the Hudson Valley, and northern New Jersey. And we've identified 7 things we really want to look at. And one of them is a trend that we've identified that we think that the seller's market still points toward future price appreciation, that there's still room to go. Other parts of the country, you're starting to see the market top out. People are starting to see a little bit of fallback in pricing. But in the Northeast, and particularly in our market area, we think there's still a lot of room to go, and we want to explain why. The couple of things that just fundamentals that we think are very strong in the market. One, the economy is very strong. Second, interest rates are still near historical lows. We thought that they were creeping up. They did, and now they've come back down, and they're just at ridiculously low levels from a historical perspective. We also have promising demographics that the millennial generation, which people have said, oh, those people are never going to move out of the suburbs. Well, they didn't move out of the suburbs because they were in their 20s, but now they're in their mid-30s, the front end of that generation. And although they have challenges, late household formation, higher levels of student debt than prior generations had, there still is, I think, the impetus for them. Most studies show there's an impetus for them to still buy a home. They are going to get married. They are going to have kids. That's not going to change basic biological facts of life. And when they do, they're going to want a place in the suburbs, and that's where I think our market's going to pick up. So I think the demographics are pretty promising. Also, I believe in trickle-up appreciation. I believe that appreciation in a market starts at the entry-level market and goes up. You know, the demand starts for the entry-level house at $200,000. That gets sold. The person who sold that $200,000 house buys a $300,000 house. That creates demand for the $300,000 house, and so on and so on. And right now we see a lot of demand and a lot of price appreciation in the lower end of the markets, the mid-level markets, the entry-level markets, and it is not yet translating to the higher-level markets, but when it does, and we think it will, it's going to push prices up across the board, and so we think that there's a good trend going there. And then finally, there's historical trends that we believe that the market moves in cycles. Here's the cycle that we want to show you, is the market, think about the historical market. This is Westchester County and Bergen County going back to the early 1980s, and this is the inflation-adjusted average sales price going back to that time. And what you can see is really a wave that starts in the early 1980s, crests in the late 80s, comes down through the mid-90s. People don't even remember. There was a massive market correction from 1988 to 1996. People forget that because they think that what happened in 2008, 2009 had never happened before. In fact, it did. Happened before. It happens in part of the cycle. And then the cycle started up again in 98. It went up. And then you can see what happened in 06, 07, 08, like really the 08, 09 market. 06, it started to top out. 08, it crashed. That was the financial crisis. We had about 4 or 5 years of price depreciation happen in like an 18-month period that was really devastating to the market. But you can see the market corrected, picked up. The homebuyer tax credit of 09 and 10 helped, and the market has kind of bounced around since then. It's starting to trend up, but you see with the inflation adjusted, we still haven't seen any meaningful price appreciation in either market. Just look at this. In the seller's market of the 1980s, Westchester prices appreciated from a inflation-adjusted number, 110%. Bergen, 78%. In the second seller's market, from the mid-90s to the height of 07, 08, there was appreciation of 87%, Westchester 95% in Bergen. And what about so far? Since the seller market started 7 years ago or so, we've seen almost no appreciation in this market. That's I think, unusual, and that's, I think, very strange. I look at this and I say, you've got a rhythm here, you've got a wave here, you've got a pattern that has not yet produced any meaningful appreciation in our local markets, and I think that appreciation is coming, and I think the market cycle will assert itself despite the SALT cap, which is one of our trends, the holding back prices, despite a lack of inventory, perhaps because of our lack of inventory, which is holding back sales but driving prices out. I really do think that there's room for price appreciation over the next few years in Westchester, Bergen, and by association, the other markets that we don't have data going back as far, but I think they follow the same patterns. So we do believe the seller's market still has legs. We hope you enjoyed this, got something out of it. If you have any questions, go to your Rand Realty agent or contact me. I'm Joe Rand. Thank you so much for listening.